What was the worst ever outcome of a nat 20 in your D&D game? Let us know in the comments below. My half-orc barbarian was under the effect of a confusion spell and had to make an attack against an adjacent target. The only available target was our halfling rogue, who was using me as cover. I crit and rolled near max damage, a 10, 11, 12, and a +4 for strength, for a total of 37. We were only level 5, and the rogue went down from full. We were getting mauled by a mutated bear. We decided to play dead. I failed my deception check and got mauled until I was dropped to 0 HP. Technically, being unconscious passes the play dead check. Until I roll a nat 20 on my death saving throw, pop back up with 1 HP, and then the bear hits me while I'm prone. Also rolls a 20 for a crit, and 1 hit KOs me. Rest in peace, Sayer. Why play dead when you can do it for real? Not a nat 20, but actually a nat 1 in Call of Cthulhu, which, in turn, is always a critical success. Now, Call of Cthulhu is one of those games where, when the GM asks you for a roll, you usually want to fail it, especially the closer to the end you get to a scenario. So, we're right at the end. We didn't manage to prevent the awakening of an ancient god, but we did manage to save a couple of kids who are going to be used as sacrifices. As we escape in a truck, we all roll to see if we notice this god emerging from a lake. I am driving. Everyone fails their checks except me. I roll a freaking nat 1. So, I fully see this god whose material form I simply cannot comprehend. Temporary insanity and a bout of madness. I roll a 6, which means I immediately faint. I, the driver, faint. We all survived though, barely. D&D 3.5, not mine, but a fellow adventurer's. We'd tracked an undead illithid to its lair, only to find that we were in a bit of an ambush. I was locked in combat with a hulking zombie monstrosity, and my fellow adventurer's rogue was right behind me. One of the illithid's ghost allies possesses the rogue after her character fails to keep the ghost at bay. Her turn comes up, and I now find myself flanked by the zombie and ghost-possessed rogue, who attacks with her backstabbing ability not once, but twice. She manages 2 natural 20s. Her weapon of choice, a +3 shocking burst heavy pick. Needless to say, my ranger didn't survive the combined 4d6 plus 12, plus 14d6 plus 8d10 damage from her attack. All the table could do was laugh. Luckily, we were high enough level that the cleric could revivify my character. Now that story is still repeated a dozen years later. When our DM had me roll for the big bad evil guy's attacks one round because my character was incapacitated for hours and he felt bad about it, I rolled to hit our cleric, and rolled a nat 20 on the big bad's second attack, which was his second arm wielding a vorpal sword. Yep, sorry cleric, you're about to meet your god. Not mine, but one of my players. The party got lost in a forest when they started to hear singing. Never a good sign. It was something like a siren song, so they rolled wisdom saves to avoid being charmed. Everyone succeeded except the cleric. They rolled really low and started walking straight into an obvious, to everyone else at least, trap. The artificer had a spell that teleports an ally elsewhere, I forget the name, and used it on the cleric to get them away. I ruled that since the cleric was charmed and wanted to follow the song, they would try to resist the teleport by rolling a save. Nat 20. So, the cleric avoided the teleport from the artificer and jumped straight into the trap. They survived the encounter, but damn did we find it hilarious that they failed to resist mind control, but succeeded in resisting ally help. My bard saw through a dragon's disguise. Nobody else in a room full of people could tell. But because of all my bonuses, I beat the high DC. Now, this cursed knowledge was bad enough because I knew there was an evil dragon just sitting there scheming while everyone else was having a casual meeting. But worse, the dragon knew I knew. That cold, knowing stare meant the two of us were locked in, and whatever happened next would be forced by either my action or inaction, or the dragon deciding to employ a scorched earth approach. Literally. Anyway, my dumbass decided it was best to out the dragon, start a fight, and have the dragon's rage pour down my squishy bard throat for having done that. Hey man, I don't kink shame. Now, it didn't help that we had history from an earlier encounter. Thankfully, I managed to survive the encounter, but it certainly made a mess. Our party recently investigated a lighthouse known to house a slaver ring. We had a rope of climbing, so we entered through the top level, took out the single guard, and made our way into the building. Inside, on the top floor, there was a shackled bugbear beaten to near death with many bites and scratches on his body. Well, we interrogated him, and he was open to helping us clear the building of slavers. I rolled nat 20 on my thieves' tools and unlocked his shackles. Turns out, the bites were from were-rats that the slaver bosses were using to turn people into mindless were-animal hybrids. This guy turned out to be a three-headed snake tiger wolf or something like that, and went crazy on us as soon as he was freed. Ended up nearly dropping me with acid breath, right before we were set to battle like a dozen slavers. Ah, good times. Was playing a magic-phobic wild magic barbarian who unintentionally multiclassed into warlock because of a wish spell-infused meteorite. Was having an in-game argument with another player, my IRL partner, about their klepto pet monkey, and I roleplayed that my character accidentally cast Eldritch Blast out of pure frustration, as a way to discover the magic without metagaming. Rolled a nat 20 on the attack against the monkey. I did not intend to actually hit anything, and yet, dead monkey. I have notoriously bad dice luck, so I was banking on a low roll. Bad dice luck manifests in many ways, I fear. Later on, we used the reincarnate spell on him, and he turned into a hyena, but my partner took a while to forgive me for that. Well, I'll tell you would have made Frieza proud. Worst? Nah. Best? Was PvPing had an honor crisis. Our party paladin didn't like what the party had done, so he ratted us out to the guard for vigilantism. The rest of the party had a whole arc for a court case and murder trial over an evil tiefling lord outside of Silvery Moon. My character is a barbarian, honor type, and I basically challenged him to a deathmatch. He accepted. I then one-shot the traitor with a fat nat 20, baby! It was fun for all, even the paladin who rolled up a ranger right after. And yes, the paladin's god even got involved, and we got to fight angels and shit over a deathmatch. He wasn't a traitor, but two lawful characters had a moment of glory as their honor codes were in direct conflict. Nobody was bullied. The best way to handle that situation. My DM has an additional ability score called Luck. Whenever you make a luck check, you roll a d20, and if the roll is lower than your luck score, you succeed. It's really nice for those of us who are cursed to always roll low. Cut to an epic boss fight, when one of the party goes, "Wait, who has the MacGuffin right now?" Everyone mumbles and looks nervously at each other. It appears that the important boss-slaying item was left back at camp. I chime in. "Yo, can we retcon and say I remembered to bring it?" DM calls for a luck check. Nat 20. Absolute failure. We got our butts kicked and had to retreat. I ran a game once where the party was manipulated into ambushing the king's carriage. I planned on them fighting for a bit and then figuring out that it was the king they were attacking, not just a random priest. The setting was a theocracy. We were using a variant rule that said, if you crit, you roll to confirm it. Confirming with 2 more nat 20s results in an instant kill. It only happened a few times in several years of using that rule. Guess what the rogue did as the very first person to get close enough to land a blow on the priest they were trying to kill? Nat 20. Nat 20. And you get a nat 20. Their narration went something like this. As the head lands at your feet, you realize the face looks really familiar, like you've seen it daily for years. Why would I have seen a priest's face daily for... Wait, I pull out a coin. Hey, that's the face! I knew I'd seen this guy before! Ah, shit! There was a big, imposing door that needed a small puzzle and a key to open it. My Path of the Giant Bugbear Barbarian, of course, tried to destroy it instead. He raged, grew to large size, and used an oversized Morning Star 2d10 plus strength bludgeoning damage to attack the door. Nat 20. The door was visibly damaged, but unfortunately it was also magically protected, and my Morning Star bounced back into his face, dealing the crit damage to himself as well. This is like the third door that had reflected or retaliated against his attacks. No, he did not learn his lesson, and we love him for it. I was a very new DM and had made a mistake trying to up the difficulty of a one-shot encounter someone else had written. I swapped one type of bear for another without noticing that it increased the encounter from rough but fair to death guaranteed, potentially without saving throws. When targeting the exact squishy character whose HP alerted me to my true error, I rolled a 20. It felt incredibly unfair to kill a character 10 minutes into a one-shot session, so I must admit, I fudged the numbers. These days, I would have let it play out though. A nat 20 from me caused the king to reveal something huge. The guy we'd been chasing for months on his orders for being a terrorist and wanting to bring down the world order and all that, well, he didn't actually care about him at all. He only sent us out to create stronger people, whether that be us or our enemies getting stronger, because he was bored as fuck. Since no one was as strong as him, he was bored of the peace the world had been having. Thankfully, right before that, we didn't decide to fight the terrorist and instead got his backstory, which, together with that revelation, made all of us decide to fuck the king and instead get friendly with Mr. Terrorist. Eventually, we joined him. I was a victim, not the roller. Party member got charmed, went after another character on his turn. It was 3.5 edition, so he decided to power attack, which would reduce the probability of actually hitting. Of course, he rolled a nat 20, got the confirm, killed the other character. On his next turn, he came right to my character with the same idea. Surely, it wouldn't happen again, right? Right? No. Another nat 20, another confirmed crit, another PC dead in 2 rounds. Wasn't D&D, GURPS, my beloved. But I was playing a Wind Genasi swordsman, and the party got jumped by a pirate crew. I went after the captain because he was flying, and the only other person in our party who could fly was, well, much slower. After some fighting, the captain began charging an attack to hit the whole party with lightning. I got a critical success to attack him, and the effect was that the enemy got disarmed. The captain's sword exploded in lightning, and I fell from the sky like a damn rock. Neither of us survived that. Really cool moment, though. Had a DM when I first started playing. Gee, I hope so. Enemy did some kind of cloud of fog or darkness or something, while me, Barbarian, and the rogue were right next to him. And then we couldn't see. My turn is immediately after, so I opt to just swing for him anyway and declare as such in character. He was right in front of me last I saw, so maybe he's still there. DM rolls something behind his screen. Then he says my swing will be aimed at the rogue. Since I already declared my attack, I can't take it back. I just go, huh? And look at the rogue, who is just as baffled. But we're new and don't want to argue with the experienced DM trademarked. So I roll my attack. Nat 20. Then confirm it and just crit him into an early grave. 3 times Great Axe crit and a burst weapon, so a bonus couple of d10s of damage. In the aftermath, the DM said the big bad evil guy cast a second spell after the darkness fog that swapped his location with the rogues. Apparently. Yeah, I don't think he did that. That DM sounded like a joik. DM here. We played with a penalty table. If you got downed, got hit by a nat 20, you rolled a d20, and on a 1, bad stuff happens, or failed a dex save by more than 10, you rolled and stuff happened to you. Our paladin lost a leg to a bugbear. Then that same paladin got possessed by an intellect devourer and attacked our gunslinger. Nat 20. He pumped a 3rd level smite into it. Gunslinger down! He also got his eye damaged and now has disadvantage on ranged attacks. The RP afterward was insane, and it was a blast. What, the 3rd level smite was a blast? We're in the final battle of an arc. My character is wielding the 9 Lives Stealer as a pact weapon, because we're using it to scare the demon that is possessing my love interest out of them. Several turns go by where I keep rolling too low to hit. Finally, I do hit. Nat 20. For those of you playing the home game, when you hit with a 9 Lives Stealer on a nat 20, the target must make a con save or have their soul forcibly sucked into the sword. Luckily, I made the necessary check to pull the demon's soul in instead of my love interests, but damn if it wasn't scary for half a second. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what was the worst ever outcome of a nat 20 in your D&D game, or GURPS, or other TTRPG. And if you ever want to help out the channel, you can do so by joining our membership program. You get early access to videos and maybe a bit more. We love you all. See you next time. Toodaloo for now.